Let's get the rec body here. I know how they like to get. All right.
Destiny.
Yeah, okay, so I got it. I'm going first.
Okay.
Actually, no. Let me start off with the first man. I'll just start off with like the physical law shit. Yeah.
Wait. Can I get the topic before you start? Sorry. Can I get the topic?
Fuck nigga, shut up, bro.
Just
Wait,
cross
hold
first.
on. It's
Comp
it's
bastards
just cross first. Everyone else versus comp bastards first.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay. All right. Yo, man, actually go first, nigga.
Chill.
So
Right. Where'd you send it at?
Oh, I haven't sent it yet. I have a big ass like scan thing.
I didn't hear what you said. Shit.
I'm gonna send it right now.
All right.
Okay.
Pussy ass nigga, stop it, man. And these hoes love me like Satan. Yeah.
So my character can control physical laws.
All right.
Some of my
Send
characters
that.
can control physical laws. I sent it in VC chat.
VC chat. Oh, I hate when niggas do this. Here's order. Yeah, why is it all physical laws?
Oh, well, it literally just says, what's the name? They're said to bring about miracles in the physical world with their powers, and they're responsible for physical laws that bind the universe. So, like, a universe's physical laws are just going to entail, what's the name? Just like, it'd be denotatively implied. Plus off
Where's
of
the
this,
denotative implication? Yeah, where's the
physical laws? Yeah,
implication?
physical laws are just going to be, physical laws are, physical laws, right? Since they're saying that it's in conjunction as what governs the universe, meaning like what what's the name? What
how do
rules
we
the
know
universe?
they're meaning physical laws like that? They're saying that,
Because it would
right?
just
Wait. Hold
physical.
on. Right? They're saying that physical laws bind the universe together, right? Which, okay, I'm fine with that, but I'm saying, why is this statement inclusive of all physical laws, right?
And physical laws, I'm saying that it's denotatively the case.
Okay, you're just repeating yourself. I don't think the diction supports your claim, so we can conclude.
I'll just give an argument. Okay, so off of the
You already
normative
did give
usage,
an
it's
argument.
just gonna be
You already did give
Can you
an
let me
argument,
finish?
though.
I'm not done.
Okay.
I'm not done. Can you not cut me off? Can somebody mute him so I can like give an argument? Because I don't want to do the like him cutting me off if I can't like make another argument. Yeah, so it would just still like be more reasonable to accept my interpretation of the scan via like the denotation, because an author uses the English language rather to convey it to the English populace. Now, denotatively, physical law is just going to be including everything that will just like govern the universe. For example, like cause and effect, things like that. Those are going to be physical laws, right? So when we're talking about definitions, just off of what's evidenced by the scan, right? It's stating that these angels govern these said things and can create miracles too. So like that would just be another implication that they wouldn't even be bounded. They wouldn't even be bounded by things of like scientific law of that nature, right? If we're going off a denotative, so like, wait, I'm arguing. Hold on. It's what do you mean 1 point?
You're trying to say that, okay, so you're trying to say that they have like complete, or they have like responsibility over all physical laws in the universe, and that they can like grant miracles or whatever. Let's just stay on 1 point.
Yeah, just the syntax would support because it says the physical laws of the universe. So it's talking about that universe's laws.
I know you're using it. Stop being a low tier.
So it's just like
stop being a low tier. Stop being a low tier. I know you're using it to support your argument. I'm saying I'm going to respond to that after I respond to the initial claim. Right, so you kind of just repeated like the whole diction thing again. You're not giving any counter argument, right, or any response to the fact that I don't think you're interpreting the terms correctly. I don't think this is denotatively the case. You're not giving any arguments, right? You are just making claims that this is not any actual reasoning on why that even is the true diction, or that these words are divine, right? That would be one, and then two. I don't think all physical laws are needed to bind the universe. I think some of them are, maybe, but I don't know about all of them. And I don't even know how true the latter claim would be in the first
you're
place.
ass. Like, are you serious?
All right. Do you want to conclude?
Maybe I'm high. Maybe I'm high. We can go to conclusions after I send my definitions or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah. So I've already. Okay. So boom. Just it's in VC chat. So like, and even the host can see that I did provide stuff like that. So it's not as if I'm just making up definitions and shit like that. I don't want like weird shit like that to go on. But yeah. So basically, I'm just gonna give you agree to conclusions right now. Because I'm just gonna say I don't think you proved your position or like defeated why
No,
mine's more
wait,
reasonable.
because you just sent something. Hold on, I want to address this physical. So wait, what are you using? What are you using? What you just said for? What is this? The thing you said right before you said we're about to
Yeah,
conclusions. You're trying to slip
well,
in.
I was just giving you like a description of what physical laws are, and I just like asked ChatGPT for to like explain it, because like it seemed like
Oh,
you were confused on that shit. But
oh, okay. So I agree that these are like categorizations of physical laws, but I'm not saying that the categorizations of physical laws don't make up the universe. I'm saying I don't think all law or all like nomological laws bind the universe, right? Like for example, um let's say like the speed formula. I don't think like the speed formula. I don't think the speed formula necessarily needs to exist for the universe to exist. Which is kind of what your argument entails. These are all just
no,
categorizations.
okay,
Wait,
okay,
stop,
so I
stop,
can
stop,
respond to
stop,
that now.
stop, stop, stop,
Okay.
stop. Right? These are all just categorizations, and I don't even see why ChatGPT would be true.
You don't well like they get their information from like appropriate sources, but we can get
Can you
into that
prove
in a
that?
second. But like yeah, I can, but we can get into the other thing
Okay,
because
so
you made
prove
like
that then.
multiple
Go ahead.
arguments. Oh my, Daffy, chill out. You made
It's R.
multiple
Kelly.
arguments. Let me
It's
respond
R.
to the other
Kelly.
one, right?
No, it's
So
R.
what I
Kelly.
would just say for the other
No, wait.
claim,
You're gonna refer to me
just
as the right
Occam's
name. It's R.
razor. Wait,
Kelly.
can somebody cut him off? Because I literally don't cut
I
this nigga
didn't
off
agree to
when he's talking,
moderation.
right?
I did
He
not agree
makes
to
multiple
moderation.
arguments, right? No, he makes multiple arguments, right?
Where's
And
the
then cuts
multiple
me off.
conclusions? Go
And then
ahead.
gets mad when people respond to the multitudes of arguments. Like that's a low tier shit. You don't have to
Where's
do
the
that.
multiple
So I would just say
arguments?
Occam's razor. So off of the normative usage and stuff like that, off of what epistemically know, these are going to be included within like physical laws and universe. So when they say the physical laws of the universe, off of that normative usage of the word, it's just going to be encompassing all of these said things. Now, when you say categorize, as in okay, this can be aspects of like what's name the physical laws, right? Because physical laws is an all-encompassing term, right? Now you're saying that in some context, what's name in some contexts they can use the word but not to its fullest extent. Okay, that's fine, right? But off of like what's the name normative usage, it would just be still be more likely my interpretation. uh yeah, and yeah, Lily Occam's razor would just be like the best thing, and you're just making
Oh,
an appeal to
that was
plausibility,
low
so we could
tier
go
as
to
fuck.
conclusion.
That was tier 12. I don't agree with Occam's razor. I think Occam's razor is kind of absurd. Because the simplest conclusion in all instances would just be a brute fact, but we don't just take a brute fact, or we just don't take the brute fact as an explanation for everything. So you just low tiered up the whole VC. We can conclude.
Oh, so you think
Smoothie
that? Okay,
level
so I'll just
threats tap
respond to
in.
this. So I'll just
Smoothie
respond
level
to the
threats.
Occam's
Let me
razor.
repeat. Smoothie
Okay,
level
so no,
threats tap in.
that
Official
does
tap
not
in.
defeat Occam's razor.
Right.
You just misunderstand what
Um.
Occam's razor is just going to be hindered, intended upon. It's like it's similar to concepts like prima facie. Now, seemingly,
You're talking
right
about
when we
prima.
look at a
What? How
word,
is Occam's
when
razor
seemingly
similar
when
to
we
prima
look at a
facie?
word, right, we interpret it as it is normative usage or like one of the denotations that are encompassed under the said word, right? Now, off of what we know of this said word, right, it's gonna follow like a set meaning. That's like literally the purpose of like what words are. So when we're talking about simplest explanation, we're talking about which one posits less necessities, right? You're positing that the author was like in reference to like a set amount, even though the denotations, right, normatively aren't just in reference to a set amount, it's all encompassing, right? That's going to be less reasonable because it's more likely the author would encounter people using the normative usage of this word, right? He is surrounded by like a populace
Those
of
are just
people.
claims. You're not. I don't think you
Yeah,
can
okay,
prove
so I
that the
can give an
normative
example like the
definitions
caveman
of
analogy.
physical
Yeah,
laws
so I
would be
can give an
inclusive.
argument for that. Yeah, so the caveman analogy. So a caveman can be surrounded in a room with
Hmm.
500,000 pages and stuff like that. Let's say like definitions are in a cave or whatever, in like a house or whatever.
Okay.
500,000 pages say the said thing, right? Everybody
Hmm.
agrees, right? The what's name on the consensus agreed upon like usage of these, and they use the what's name. Basically, they use the set term more, right? Why would somebody, right? It's I mean not why would somebody, it's just less likely mathematically for somebody to encounter that set one that one interpretation of the said thing rather than the 500,000 accepted, right? Especially like
No,
via the
that's
translation
just an
process. So,
analogy where okay, that's just an analogy where your point could follow. Like, yeah, okay, I agree that could possibly be true or whatever. You're just not giving me any sort of evidence that this happens in our reality. I don't even know if this like
oh
the
yeah,
normative.
because
No, stop,
indication.
stop,
Okay, so
stop being a low
indications
tier.
of that
Stop
would
being
just be
no,
like
no. You're
accepted
low tier
like
enough to be. So you
denotations
can
for
catch
like
yourself on mute.
Oxford, Merriam-Webster,
I
ChatGPT
don't see why
often
that would
pulls
mean
up
that
the
they're the
same
normative
definitions from those
definition
said
of the
places.
word, though.
Wait,
And actually,
because that's
okay, hold
evidenced
on.
by it. Because
I
society.
already
Wait,
think
hold
I
on, hold
attacked
on.
the Occam's razor
How
point.
we
You're
know,
not
how
even
we
gonna go there.
understand what's like accepted information, right? Is like on Google or whatever where we're getting our set like information.
That's
Like
not true.
I'm
I don't.
assuming that's where you
Why is
got
that
yours.
true?
You haven't brought any sort of like physical evidence turning on your camera or anything. So I'm assuming that you would have got your information from, like those set places too, right?
Yeah.
They're going to use like
Why?
.com, .org websites and stuff like that to like said have the verifiability.
Why?
Now, even common like everyday debates like
So
formal,
you're not
informal,
responding
right?
to
Oxford and Webster
Burden.
are consistently accepted for
I don't
denotative
know if
uses,
that's true
denotations
either.
of the words,
I don't know
right?
if
You
that's
don't
true
know if
either.
that's true. Okay, well I can just send you evidence of that, right? That's fine. I don't really see a problem with that. But yeah. So if you're
All
just
right.
going to be talking
Do
about
you
some
want
sort
to?
of
Do
like,
you
if you're
want to
going to be talking
conclude?
about some definition that's not founded in something that's commonly used, right? And you're going to say it's likely that the author used this said interpretation of the said word, right? And use this said syntax structure, which is going to be less likely to imply yours is still going to be less likely via like how our set like
All
our
right.
linguistics work. But it's fine.
Okay.
I can
Can
just
we
send the evidence
conclude?
of like people commonly using Oxford though, and
Can we
like Webster.
conclude? I already think I like defeated your Occam's razor point. Can we conclude?
No,
Because you
I'm
just
going to send you the
you don't
evidence.
know what a brute fact is because
Um,
you're a low tier. Can we conclude? Send you level threats. Can we conclude? Oh my god. He's about to look up what that shit means because you do not know what that shit means. Mm-mm. Can we conclude? You stop wasting time. You're like stalling really hard.
Why would
Like
I waste
I
time? I'm
could
just gonna show you. I'm
I
just gonna
could
show you
agree.
like a
I
lot
could
of people
agree
using
that in
Oxford.
certain debate. Okay, hold on. I can agree in some debates people use Oxford. Like that doesn't
No,
matter.
agree. A majority of people are gonna use like accepted websites
I
for
don't think you
definitions. Like,
can.
are
I
you
don't
dead
think
ass?
you
You're
can.
trying to call me low
I
tier,
don't
and
think
you're
you
trying to
can
use
prove a
databases. Like, what are
majority.
you talking?
I don't think you can prove over 4.1 billion people do that. But I
Okay, but
mean,
off of the
you
English
can go and
populace,
try.
hold on. If we're talking about English, if we're talking about English populace, right? How we learn definitions, like when you're taught in fucking school, they're getting books from like Oxford, Oxnard, all of these different places, like in
I
fucking
don't know
school.
if
You're
that's
acting
true.
fucking retarded as
You're
fuck.
just
Like
claiming that.
you're literally questioning the things that you're fucking using and fucking taught. Like, what
All
website are
right.
you getting for your definitions right now?
Can we
I
conclude?
promise you're probably
Can
gonna
we
use a
conclude?
definition that's founded in
Can
like
we conclude?
Webster or Oxford. But
Can we
like, let me get
conclude?
that, and then I'm gonna
Can
get
we
your whole like
conclude?
brute fact point.
This nigga about
Can
dirty
we
as hell,
conclude?
nigga. Ugly ass
You
nigga. I'm
know,
on your dumb
you
ass.
think
Dirty
you
neck ass
already
nigga. I'm on your
responded.
dumb ass.
Oh my god, that's why I don't like debating the
You
subhuman
said
servers.
you said that you didn't
You
feel like I
said you think
responded.
no. You said
Yeah,
you
so a
already
brute
responded to
fact
the
is just
argument.
going to be a type of fact that has no explanation or justification beyond itself, considered fundamental and not derivable from any other facts or principles in philosophy. Now,
ChatGPT
if
helped you
you're
with
talking
that
about
one
now,
because
if
you
that
did
was
not
in
know what that
relation,
shit
if
means
that was
5
in
minutes
relation, no,
ago.
no, no, if that was in relation to like the definitions point. Now, for the sake of
It
actually
wasn't.
being able to convey something in English language, which you've been appealing to this whole time, right, on both sides, what's the name? It would just be disingenuous for you to like disagree with my set methodology unless you had like some sort of like basis or founded reasoning. Your set reasoning,
No,
well,
I
like your
think I
set
can
reasoning for
just
that said thing.
send
No, no, no.
out.
Your set
No, that's
reasoning
not
didn't even
true.
contradict the set usage of the said thing. Your reasoning was just the fact that you said, oh, this can just be attributed to like smaller categories, right? So my thing
That's not true.
wasn't just justified by the said thing. I'm just saying my thing is more reasonably the case via the set
You're
properties that have like
repeating
arguments
yourself.
in the
Can we
said debate,
conclude? Can you stop low
right?
tiering up the VC? Can we conclude? This is what all you
Yeah,
low
you can
tiers
make that
do. Y'all
claim.
are
You can
so
make that
scared to
claim.
conclude. Can we conclude and you stop
I mean,
running from it?
you already agreed that. But I'm just gonna show you. I'm just gonna show you schools and shit like that, which are like meant to teach people and what dictionaries they use. Like what the fuck? What books they use to teach kids fucking English? Like this nigga Dolphy will argue. This nigga Dolphy will question if fucking waters exist because he's fucking a low tier ass
Okay.
skeptic
All
and he'll
right.
fucking argue
Okay.
that. Like what the
That's
fuck?
cool. That's cool.
Shut up,
Can we
bitch.
conclude?
So anyway, schools
Can we conclude?
and dictionaries.
See, send you. This is how you have to treat the low tiers. Once they repeat themselves, literally just say we can conclude because he's not responding to the argument. You literally looked at what a brute fact was and forgot how I used it. Yeah, like, you're so fucking low tier. Can we please move on?
You made the claim that my argument was just like a fact
Nope, that's not what I said.
justification for
You're
that.
low
You
tier.
literally tried to make
That
the
was low
argument
tier.
that my argument
That
was
was
just a
low
brute
tier as
fact.
fuck.
That's
No,
literally what you said.
no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
We
You're
can go back. We
autistic.
can go back.
You're
We can go back.
autistic.
We can
No,
go back.
let's
We
conclude.
can
That's
go
how I
back.
know you lost.
You tried to make the
No,
claim that
Midnight. You
Occam's
know this
razor is
nigga
just a
lost
brute
too.
fact.
No, you know you lost. Let's conclude. Yeah, you didn't understand my argument. That was
Okay,
low
a
tier as
lot of
fuck.
systems are contingent on brute facts. Like, what the fuck? Like, you act like set of
That's
systems
not.
don't have like fucking
You don't.
axioms or stuff like that, right? Like, for example,
Oh my god.
classical logic has a set of like self-evident or axiomatic things that to hold to without no set of justification. For the sake of
You
coherency, with
know,
like a
saying
preview set
something's an
things, are you
axiom
fucking
means it
stupid?
can't be a brute fact because that would be a explanatory cause, right?
Are you fucking stupid? I'm saying that within classical logic they have a set of
Mhm.
axioms, right? That everybody just
Okay.
accepts for the sake of coherency.
Okay,
Now,
that's not a brute fact.
yours. Now, can you show me where the consensus accepts like what you're saying, like what you're proposing, like what evidence like supports like what I argue is like a brute fact?
That's not okay. Yeah, we can conclude. We can conclude.
Like, okay, you made the claim that like Occam's razor was
No,
like correlated to like
no,
brute facts. What was the argument?
no. Okay, we can conclude. You're being autistic. We can conclude. Low tier.
So
This is
you're
what they.
saying, so you're not, so
This is
you're
a
saying
low
this whole
tier
time
defense
you not
mechanism.
say
You are
there's a
scared to
correlation between
conclude.
Occam's razor and brute facts for the recording.
Wait, say it again.
You did not say so for this recording. You're saying that you did not say there's a correlation between
I
Occam's razor and brute facts.
I already said what I said. I already said what I needed
Okay,
to
so
say.
just
Can we
repeat it.
conclude? No, can we
Okay, so just
conclude? You're
repeat
being
it.
a low tier.
Okay, so repeat it.
I'm saying I don't take Occam's razor to be the case, right? Because under Occam's razor, a brute fact would be the most probable interpretation in every
Why?
single facet. Yeah, because it multiplies the least amount of necessities, right?
It multiplies.
And
So brute facts multiply the least amount of necessities.
don't repeat what I said, bitch. Can we conclude?
Okay, so
Oh
multiply
wait,
the
so you
least.
said we can conclude? All right, that's cool.
No, I did not
Midnight,
say
you
that.
think one?
I did not say that.
You
Multiply
said
the
okay, did
least
you not? You literally
necessities.
said okay.
What do you mean by multiply the least necessities?
Are you stupid? So to reach that conclusion of your interpretation, right? You have less things have to occur, right, in the instance of a brute fact than in your interpretation, right? So under that, right, under ever abiding by the system of Occam's razor, right, we could the brute fact could be the most probabilistic thing, and we can apply brute fact to everything, right? This is why you're low tier because you did not peep what I
Wait,
said earlier.
so Occam's razor can be applied to everything, or brute facts can be applied to everything. So why is that bad again?
All right, okay. We can conclude. I already explained that earlier. We can conclude.
So you're saying because it's only contingent on like stuff happening.
No, because that's obviously absurd. Because we know things can have an explanatory reason and it not be simple. Nor or
Oh, so
yeah,
you're
and
okay.
and
So
then wait, stop, right? And it could be like unintuitive and unsimple, right? And it still be the case. And I don't see it being unsimple and unintuitive, meaning that it's any less or any more probable.
yeah, well, you kind of just made like an appeal to possibility. You're just saying like, oh, the potential exists that this can have like more of a broader explanation. My argument is saying I don't disagree with the fact that okay, maybe there's a possibility, right, of this thing have a broader explanation in like its context, like meeting yours or like meeting like a scholar a smaller thing, right? I'm
Mhm.
just saying off of what we know now in the methodology as to how we discern, which is going to be off of like the regular use of the denotatives, rather unless we're like plot twists by the author or some shit like that. We're just going to take what's evidenced by like a narrative to determine what's correspondent, right? How we determine what's evidence is going to be through the linguistics and syntax structure and the denotations, right?
Oh,
How we
okay. That
determine
didn't
what's going to be
respond.
more
Can we
likely
conclude?
encountered, right, has already been established, right, with like the caveman analogy, right, in
Yeah, we
Merriam-Webster.
can
Now, let me send
conclude.
these
I
scans. So let
question
me
that.
send the scans at like school
We
because
can
like when you
conclude.
look
She
up that.
didn't. Yeah, you did the
So I
same
think
shit
I'll
you did
respond to
before.
that,
You
but I'm
didn't
just
peep
gonna
what I
send you the
said.
people. I'm just gonna send you like schools that use like dictionaries and stuff like that, and they're gonna be coming from the same place I'm talking about.
Type shit.
Schools that use dictionaries in the U.S. Since this nigga Dolphy wants to be a low tier.
Can we conclude? You've been trying to run away for a conclusion for like 15
Hey.
minutes. You've been trying to prove that shit for like 10 minutes. Can we conclude? You're
Well,
like
I had
wasting
to
my
argue
time.
with you to see what you were actually arguing.
Yeah, no, because you didn't follow what I said before. Because you're tier 12. I
Yeah,
know.
because I didn't think it was a good argument. But then once you broke it down, I realized it was even shittier than I thought. But anyways,
I mean,
so
that
let me
still
see.
didn't defeat it.
School.
Can we conclude? Because you just went on like a whole little, side tangent.
How many schools currently use Oxford?
Hey, yo, who's judge?
Midnight.
Yo, mama.
It doesn't matter. He's gonna say
That shit was lame.
he's gonna say
You say your mama though.
I won, so it doesn't matter.
Delusions.
Yeah, this nigga shit, bro. Niggas gotta go to work in a little bit,
Oh,
man. I ain't even
That's what I'm
international.
gonna
saying, bro. He's literally
Wow. Oh
wasting
my
time.
God. Wow. And it'll send you their source for that. Okay, so I'm just gonna send you like Oxford literally has the shit for you to like tell you like it's international use and accepted. So it's like wow. So what you're saying is just fucking wrong. I sent that link in like VC chat. And I'm gonna send like physical laws. Again, another definition. Just like everybody else can see that I said like twice, just to educate this nigga because he just really doesn't know, right?
It doesn't
So,
respond to what I said. Can we conclude?
oh my God,
This
these
is what
definitions
all you
map
low tiers
onto. Oh my
do.
God, are you fucking stupid? We're
This is what
using
all you low tiers do.
definitions that
Oh
we
my
construed it
God, you're
based
gonna
off of like
keep
what we
repeating
think map
yourself. I
onto
understand.
reality.
Oh my
Are
God,
you
stop being
fucking
a low tier.
stupid? So when they
Please
say
stop being a low
scientific
tier.
laws are
Can we
going off the
conclude?
scientific
If you
notion of
don't
what the
think
said
I'm
thing is,
responding,
especially when
let's
it's talking about
conclude.
reference
Oh
into
my God.
universes. We have
Okay.
never seen any
I'm gonna
universes
I'm
that
gonna
don't have the
mute
said
I'm gonna
scientific laws
mute
that we're
right
or
when you're
physical laws
ready
we're
to
talking about.
conclude. Let me
So it's
know.
still
I'm
more
gonna mute.
likely
You're ready to
for
conclude. Let me
my
know.
interpretation. Okay, so I've sent all the evidence right in VC chat. So now you have nothing to like discredit anything of what I'm saying. So now we can conclude. Yes.
Official, bro. Control these low tiers, bro. Come on, tap in.
Oh, no, I'm about to start beating up the low tiers.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Chill out. Chill out. Chill out. All right. Do you want to conclude first, or you want me to conclude? Mm.
Yeah, so basically he didn't defeat the Occam's razor point. He just said Occam's razor can just be applied to like everything, or like brute facts can be applied to everything, and that can just be bad due to the fact that there can be some sort of like explanations, or like the explanation that's given can be just like doesn't make sense, or like it can just be not so simple, right? But that doesn't defeat like what's name, like the possible worlds, things and the necessities that things that basically the Occam, like if I applied Occam's razor on something that had more like basically that posited more necessities than the thing that doesn't, right? It would still follow through like with the nature of like what Occam's razor is. He's just saying that broader explanations can be there, right? I'm just saying that off of what's evidence in our methodology to determine what's correspond to a narrative, right? It's more likely that it's more reasonable to accept that my interpretation is true, right? And I've also brought up the plot twist methodology, like how an author would like how we would discern what's going to be corresponding with a narrative through like further elaboration. So I'm not even disagreeing with his methodology. Like he's like basically saying he's basically making it appeal to possibility. He's basically saying like, oh, the definitions, right? What's name? Can just be attributed to something else, not attributed to its like normative usage or its actual denotations on like fucking Oxford. And he just straight up tries to disagree with fucking Oxford, tries to posit some sort of own that can be categorized, doesn't even posit some sort of consensus for that, stuff like that, or accepted. I even brought up how language and stuff like that, how we determine like what's name, what language and stuff like that is like accepted or denotates accepted is via like a consensus. I even sent evidence of that, like Oxford, even sent like multiple things, like what schools use it. Like even the first thing you come up, like when you talk about school dictionaries, Merriam-Webster stuff that I had like already referenced. So it's like this nigga just like appealing to like some sort of unfoundational, unexplained like set thing. And I've already given the probability argument, like the caveman analogy. If the English populace internationally and stuff like that use this said thing normatively this way, and he can't find any account of them using his his interpretation his way, even though I grant it, but I just say that it'd be granted on the fact that it would just be a non-literal usage, a non literal usage, but I mean not
Yeah.
non-literal, fucking not attributed to the definition.
Are you
Sorry,
done low tiering up the
but yeah,
VC? Okay.
Official
yeah,
one,
I'm
bro.
done.
Official
All
one.
right. That's like an unbiased or opinion. I'm sorry, that's unserious. All right. So back to the sentient niggas. All right. So the scan says, along with the power, they are responsible for the physical laws that bind the universe. Right. So I'm saying this claim will only be inclusive of the physical laws that bind the universe, and there's obviously physical laws that don't bind the universe. I brought this up. This is why I said, like, for example, the speed formula doesn't need to necessarily exist for the universe to exist, right? He did not respond to that because he low tiered the VCF. He didn't respond to it. Right. So one, that would just demonstrate that not all physical laws are needed to bind the universe. And then two, he tried to send his definition of a physical laws, but it just gave categories, right? And I agree that there is like four categories or whatever, but I don't think the four categories are needed to bind the universe. He didn't understand the Occam's razor point either, because I was saying that Occam's razor can derive absurd conclusions, right? And the reason why I can the reason why it can lead to absurd conclusions is because the fact like a brute fact would be the most like parsimonious thing, and it would be like the simplest thing, but it doesn't mean it's the most likely thing. And that's obviously true, and I really called it like absurd. I called it a contradiction, right? I mean, I can even give like an example, right? A child being born, right? The most parsimonious interpretation is that this thing just came into existence via a brute fact, but we just clearly see that's not the case, right? That thing would just kind of get contradicted within reality. So I'm saying your interpretations of Occam's razor will lead to contradictions. That's why I called it absurd. Then you try to get the caveman analogy. You said that it was mathematically true. I question why it would be mathematically true. You didn't respond to that either. And then like even your thing on definition, that thing only hinges or that thing only matters. One in certain contexts, right? Like I agree in certain contexts. Yeah, you could be right, but I think the context that the scan is stated in, it's just not correct. So, Midnight, who you think won?
Okay, so just for clarification, Dofi denied like the principle of Occam razor being able to be the case because of conclusions that it derives. And official, you said that you don't disagree with that methodology, but you're saying in the context of the series that we should go with this methodology, right?
No, I said when he said Occam's razor can lead to absurd conclusions, I'm saying okay, that's just an appeal to possibility. Right. It doesn't matter if this thing can lead to absurd conclusions due to the fact that this thing would just posit that we should just do what, like when I posited prima facie, basically what's seemingly the case is just most likely the case, right? Now off of like, and then I posit
That's
like the
distinct from
probability.
Occam's razor. That was low tier as fuck because what you see doesn't have to be the simplest explanation. You just low tiered up the VC again.
Okay,
All
when I
right.
posit,
Okay,
no, I
he just
didn't. But actually,
that
prima
shit
facie
was
would actually follow what I'm saying, and I didn't interrupt you during
that
your
shit was
conclusion. So
incohesive,
like, yeah,
brother.
you could
That
get
So
shit
muted,
was
bitch.
let
that shit was
let
incohesive.
You could
Dofi
get muted, bitch.
let official talk. Let official because Loki died when I was talking.
Exactly. Like this nigga's so fucking scared that he fucking lost. Like lock in.
I can never.
Anyways. Okay, so yeah, so even if you give him like the fucking like I don't really see how that changes anything.
Yeah, so say reiterate the prima facie point. Dofi kind of talked while you were talking.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, so when he posits Occam's razor can just lead to like some sort of predictions. Okay, that's just an appeal to possibility, right? How we interpret, we should just basically take what's evidenced by the scan. And I said how we determine what's evidenced by the scans is through a strict methodology via syntax and our accepted linguistic structure, right? Then I provide what's the name? What are denotations of the said words? Then I provide the normative usage. Then I provide all of these different things. It's international use. And then I give the caveman analogy, which he says I didn't give justification for. I'm saying I literally said, okay, if it's the case that there's just one thing inside of the room, due to the fact that there's 500,000 things around you, right? Due to the sheer size of these said things, it's more likely that you're encountering through this thing. You're less likely to encounter the one, and that's just simple mathematical probability theory.
And I
He just
question
said
whether or not that was true, and
why
he didn't respond.
he just puts into question mathematical. So then he just puts into question mathematical probability theory, which I already fucking explained.
Okay, so Dofi, do you have a timestamp of you questioning the mathematical shit?
Yeah.
I got that real quick. I ain't gonna lie, I'm about to dip on like 10, so I'm probably not gonna get final verdict because I low key was getting dressed while I was fucking